Hello my fellow hunters, this is an extremely short video and I wanna explain you these weird numbers sometimes, especially for resentment. You know, maybe everyone knows resentment increases your attack by 5. And after I've uploaded my explanation video to this, which is currently at the spreadsheet, most users, or also on some Reddit users, asked why is it not for resentment always the same increase? So the overall DPS increase, if you have a maxed out resentment, is 5.93. And if we divide 5.93 into 5, most users are thinking it should be 1.19 per level. But that's wrong. And I'm gonna explain it to you in this video why it's the case. And it's very easy to explain. It just has to do with low motion values. It took me a very long time to figure it out, but not every time your damage numbers got increased. And so sometimes it happens that, for example, resentment 2 is kind of stronger or more useful than resentment 3. And yes, please only take this for the elemental files. For power files, I think it is not there is not such a big difference, and I'm gonna explain to you why resentment from level 2 to 3 and from level 4 to 5 is kind of weird in this scenario. So we just go to our calculator, which is here. So we have, yes, the switch X with 320 raw and 70 element, which is the average switch X value. And so I'm gonna explain it to you. Let's go make it a little bit bigger. And it has mainly to do with this ASD. Damage was calculated for mixed playstyle, so aerial and grounded is weighting it 1 to 1. And for example, we should have a look at the ZSD ticks. You can see here, for resentment level 0, the ZSD ticks are 59. Okay. Then go to resentment level 1. It is now 60, so one more. Now increase to resentment level 2. It is now 61, so one more again. Level 0 was 59, level 1 60, and level 2 61. Now to level 3. It is still 61. So in this case, if you're using resentment 3 instead of 2, you doesn't gain really additional damage. You get some more on the thrust maybe. You get one more on the thrust, but not on the ticks. The ticks are still the same. So at the end, so this is different for every raw, or it heavily depends on the file type. So especially that's the case for elemental files, because they don't scale as good as power files with the raw value. So for power files, it is maybe kind of different. So you can see it was still 61. And now from 3 to 4, it is maybe it's now 62. Yes, 62. And now from 4 to 5, it is still 62. So again, no increase. So you can see, especially for elemental files, it is a kind of little bit complicated with the raw based skills, because higher raw, higher level of resentment or higher level of resuscitate doesn't really mean that you get at the end really significantly more damage output. Now let's do this for the power files. So we just change the file to the power file. Change the element back to about 45 to make it a little bit more realistic. And let's go back to resentment level 0. So you can see the ZSD ticks are now 53. Okay, because power files doesn't really have that high element. Yes, you can see only 53 per tick, and that's also the reason why elemental files are kind of better than power files. Oh, so 53 at this scenario. Now resentment level 1, it is 54. So one more. From resentment 1 to resentment 2, it is 54. So we have the scenario again. So in this case, resentment 1 to resentment level 2 is useless because you didn't gain better CSD ticks. Now from resentment level 2 to resentment 3, which is 55. So now once more again. Now to resentment 4. Now we have 56. And now to resentment 5, we now have 56 again. And now this is scenario, the same scenario as like for the elemental Fial. So we currently have power Fial. Let's compare resentment 4 versus 5. We have resentment 4. The CSD tick is 56. Now resentment 5, the CSD tick is still 56. Now we change back our file type to element and the element back to 70. So you can see now the CSD ticks are completely different. It is 62 for resentment level 5. And now we change back to level 4 and see if there are some changes. 62, now level 4, still 62. So in this case, resentment level 5 isn't really worth it to use on the set. Ignoring the file type. So you have seen I have compared power Fial with elemental Fial. And on both files at resentment level 5, we didn't get a DPS increase. And this is the explanation of all that stuff. The same things goes for the grounded playstyle. It isn't that significant in the grounded playstyle because you didn't do that much ticks. If you do a CSD, you do about, like you can see here, 11 ticks, which is huge. So there's, for aerial playstyle, there is a huge amount of attacks with a low motion value. But if you go for grounded playstyle, and for example you're not amped, all your motion values are really high. Like you can see it's about 30, 28, 36 about. Only if you're amped, you're doing that extra file damage. So if you're amped, the same scenario happens for grounded playstyle. So that was just for an example. I hope you get it. And don't get confused with the number, they are still correct. So happy hunting, see you next time.